Buildings are about meaning, memory and identity. They are the backdrop from which they are created, and that's from people themselves visiting and being part of those communities that are created inside buildings. It's not just bricks and mortar. The Gaumont is a complex development in a city on a really, really important high street in London that's known across the world. We're bringing in a new generation of artists who'll bring new creativity to the King's Road and be a lasting legacy for the Gaumont.
This project was commissioned by Cadogan. I believe it's the first time they've worked with a contemporary artist for one of their buildings. And it's quite an amazing opportunity in terms of it consists of 2 vertical panels on the restored facade of the original Gaumont Palace Theatre on the King's Road.
Shahzad really spoke to us very personally about Chelsea, and he's personally connected to Chelsea, and that was really important for us.
This was a particularly exciting one for a number of reasons. One, to have such a major permanent public commission on home turf in London. And then I suppose talking about the King's Road, you know, even beyond the site itself, I mean, the site's fantastic, you know, it's the Gaumont, the original Gaumont Palace Theatre, which was there since the 30s. Gaumont originally distributed Georges Méliès' films, and you've got his Journey to the Moon, and then the moon became like a really key symbol for me, and it kept recurring. Bram Stoker and Mary Shelley both lived in the neighbourhood. And if you think of the role of the moon in both Frankenstein and Dracula, it carries on into early silent cinema, which was drawing on, you know, that sort of idea of Gothic horror. Not only did it expand outwards, but it expanded sort of backwards in time. King's Road, Charles II, you know, he was really enamoured of astronomy and actually funded the creation of the Greenwich Observatory. Vivienne Westwood adopts Charles II's sceptre and orb as her logo. And then that takes you to her sex boutique, the punk moment. You know, you've got circles and flowers in Mary Quant. And of course, last but not least, you have the falling fireworks of Whistler's Nocturne in black and gold, which is a view across the Thames to Cremorne Gardens in Chelsea, and actually caused the famous lawsuit between him and Ruskin. So it just didn't stop. It became like this kind of, you know, waterfall floodgate of kind of accumulating references that kind of almost reinforced the initial idea I'd had.
The Gaumont is about community, and when we were considering the uses, and particularly the retail, we sought consultation from the local neighbourhood, and the specific response was creatives.
New Forms is a new hi-fi space that come from the team that started Next to Records. The Gaumont, I think it's such a unique opportunity to kind of bring kind of a rejuvenation of culture into an area that, you know, is steeped in musical history. We're going to be stocking a bunch of records that kind of a nod to the old Sex Pistols, Clash, Vivienne Westwood era, as well as kind of championing new music from the London scene, bringing back the music and culture to an area which is steeped in it. You know, we're part of a much bigger project. You know, we've got a bookshop next door, an art space next door, but it's also they're all very multifaceted businesses. And hopefully start to see people that wouldn't necessarily think of going to the King's Road and see it as a spot that it's not just leaning on its history, it's making new histories, making new communities and cultures, and music and arts driven, as it should be.
My first thought when I saw Shahzad's proposal was, wow.
And then once you have the green light, you've actually got to make the thing. And something like this, which is, you know, ceramics, you know, you've got 2 vertical 6-metre tall ceramic panels, so it's not simple. What you see with the tiles is they're all relief sculpted. So they have a sort of a 2-dimensionality, but then a 3-dimensionality. And one of the exciting things for me was thinking about it as a sort of organic sundial. So particularly in the daytime, as the sun travels through the arc of the sky, and we actually used rendering software to model what it would do. But the shadows will dance differently at different times of day. So again, it goes back to what I was saying about painting as well. So I try and bring this approach, whatever, irrespective of the medium I'm using, but that the work should dance. It should never be static or dead.
I think the connection is around local people feeling part of the development and knowing that they've contributed to how it's come together. And that's really what we've delivered.